The world has conclave fever.
Brand new season of the Pope game starts May 7th. Wigs are going to be flying.
I'd like to be Pope.
Raw dogging it. This is the first truly online Pope election in history, and it's a flurry of memes, Cardinal sports drafts, Pope crave, and endless references to the movie Conclave. We have all the best memes, moments, and beautiful red robes here on Scroll Deep, the show that keeps up with internet nonsense so you don't have to. In nomine Tennis, Cancrus et Sanctus Content. Amen. Fun fact about me, Benedict, is that I was raised Catholic and went to Catholic school until I was 18. My name is literally Benedict. So while I may be infused with a guilt more powerful than the burning sun, it does mean that I'm quite well placed to talk about all the Catholic shenanigans that are happening right now with regards to choosing the new Pope. And the problem is that I lie so frequently on this show, no one's going to believe any of that information. But I swear to God, I was raised Catholic. Look at the empty look in my eyes. The process of choosing the new Pope is known as a conclave, where all of the cardinals, those are the guys in the sick red robes. Honestly, in terms of visuals, Catholicism has got it down. In other areas, they're less great. But basically, all the cardinals are locked together in the Vatican, the central hub of the Catholic Church. They're disconnected from the outside world, and they vote for who the next pope will be, usually with a lot of pomp and circumstance. Famously, they update the public by releasing smoke from a chimney. Black means no choice has been made. White smoke means a pope has been chosen. Now, we're recording this at the time of the conclave, so they might well choose a pope while we're filming this. So if one has been chosen, congratulations to the new pope. You will certainly be. But we can actually cut live now to the pipe to see if any smoke is coming. Put that in your smoke and put that in your pipe and put that in your pope and smoke it. There we go. There was also quite a funny meme that showed that a new rat pope had been chosen, which I quite enjoyed. Before we continue, a quick reminder that all 8 episodes of Vine, 6 Seconds That Changed the World, the podcast series that we made about the rise and fall of Vine, are out now on your podcast platform of choice. Because you might well have done the thing that I do sometimes, where you wait until all the episodes are out so you can do one big binge. And now you can do that. You can just listen to them all straight through. You know what it is? I realized the other day, it's a show your boyfriend would love. Someone came up to me and they were like, I really like your podcast. And I was like, Vine? They're like, no, the other one. I was like, all right. And I was like, can you please listen to my Vine podcast? And she's like, what Vine podcast? And I'm like, great, it doesn't matter how much I advertise this. And I told her about this Vine podcast and she said, it sounds like my boyfriend would love that. And I'm like, that's what I'm hearing from everyone. So if you have a boyfriend, tell him about the Vine podcast. I think he might like it. I think you would like it too, but it's a big one for boyfriends who don't listen to a lot of podcasts. You can get them into the fold. Listen now on your podcast platform of choice, or else. Now, this is truly the first conclave that's happened in the age of the internet. Pope Francis was chosen in 2013, I think, but we didn't have quite the social media and the meme infrastructure that we have now. People have really got into this. I guess there's not much else happening in the world right now. It's pretty quiet out there. So everyone's getting really into the conclave. Part of this is because we have this new thing called tradcaths, which is where extremely online people have decided that they're into Catholicism now, which is quite funny because a lot of them seem to have moved to Catholicism because they basically think it's like more hardcore than other forms of Christianity, or they like the pomp and circumstance. They like the bells, the smells, they like the architecture. Although a lot of them don't seem to understand what Catholicism actually is, which brought us to probably my favorite Twitter interaction of all time, where a person, I think a recent convert, was arguing about papal infallibility, which is basically the idea that the Pope can't really be wrong. The Pope is God's representative on earth. The Pope hears from God. This is Catholic doctrine. And this person tweeted, quote, "Really? The Pope is a dictator who has the authority to exercise unlimited power without due process? Yes." And there was like a community note that was like, yes. And then this person was like, that's ridiculous. And it's like, my brother in Christ, that's literally why we have Protestants. That's the whole reason they started Protestantism. It's because they didn't like that. If you don't like the idea of the Pope being powerful, that's kind of the whole deal with Catholicism. You got to move elsewhere. You got to go to one of those churches that's just like a stadium where people fly around on wires with electric guitars, and the whole thing is about making one scammer really rich. Go to one of those American churches. It is worth noting as well that one of these recent very annoying converts is the Vice President J.D. Vance, who was actually, I think, the last public figure to meet Pope Francis before he passed, which just goes to show what it's like to meet J.D. Vance. Everyone's getting in on the conclave action. Donald Trump, a quiet figure, you may not have heard of him, he's currently president. He posted a picture of himself as the Pope. He's also been asked in interviews who he thinks the next Pope should be, and he keeps saying, me, I think it should be me.
I'd like to be Pope. That would be my #1 choice.
And this has actually been very negatively received. I know Trump just says and does annoying stuff all the time, but this one has actually broken through. American Catholics are very annoyed about this, and he's actually had to walk it back. The White House account has quickly become the messiest and just lamest account. Like, it's a pure troll account, but in the most boring way. And in the flurry of excitement around the conclave, I think it's fair to say that journalists have got a little bit bored and they're a bit desperate for stories, because while you're waiting for the Pope to be chosen, nothing's happening. You know, there's no cameras inside the conclave. They're not allowed to have phones. One journalist artfully described the cardinals as raw dogging it at the conclave because they didn't have any electronics. They said, I believe the young people call it raw dogging.
I believe the kids call it raw dogging it if you're going to go through a long period of time with no electronic device.
The young people say many things. That doesn't mean you should say that on TV. You know, a lot of these cardinals right now are going to be aura farming in there to try and get the top job. You shouldn't say it on TV. There's also been some seagulls that have been hanging out near the chimney. That's become a news story as well because nothing's happening. Pope Crave, a popular online account that apparently just posts about Catholic stuff. See what I mean about the trad cath? They have gained access, it seems, to the Vatican. Danger! Pope Crave has gained access to the Vatican. Vatican down! And there's been loads of memes that have been flowing. I do think the role of the movie Conclave can't be overemphasized. I mean, it was up for Best Picture. It was a really fun movie. I think it's really educated a lot of people about the inner workings of the Catholic Church. I think a big reason why so many young people have conclave fever right now is because they saw that, unexpectedly saw that movie with Ralph Fiennes of men walking around bitching about each other in robes. Apparently a lot of the cardinals in this conclave have been watching the movie for tips, which sounds fake and made up, but also like they do conclaves once every 20 years at most. So like most of these cardinals have probably never been in a conclave, almost certainly. So you've got to do your research somehow. You probably, if you're them, you would watch Conclave and be like, ooh, maybe I won't do it like that guy. That guy was a bit too shifty. That guy was a bit too... There was the epic guy in Conclave with the vape. Are they all going to be in there trying to be the vape guy, trying to get the viral Conclave moment? And one thing that people have been doing semi-jokingly is Pope drafts, sort of in the vein of sports. They've been asking, who are you drafting as your most likely contender to be the Pope? But let's run down some of the most likely contenders. First up, a contender that's got everyone excited because he's from Manila. He'll be the first Asian Pope, and he can throw a football 60 yards into the end zone. He's a top pick. It's Luis Antonio Tagle. I'm going to probably mispronounce a lot of these, I'm sorry. And fun fact, Asia is the region with the fastest growing Catholic population. It wouldn't hurt to pick a Pope from an area of the world where all the Catholics actually are. The internet has really got behind him, I think partly because the Philippines has got such a powerful presence on the internet. Speaking of areas with lots of Catholics, Peter Turkson, 76, is from Ghana. I thought this would be the first African Pope. Apparently there was an African Pope, like I was going to say in BC times. Couldn't be in BC times. I momentarily forgot everything about Christianity. Probably isn't going to be BC, but like in the real early days, in the year like 700, Pope Victor I was apparently from Africa, although when you see stained glass windows of him and stuff, they just made him fully white because, you know, it was a different time, the 1st century. Comedy was legal. Then you got Robert Francis Prevost, 69, funny age, but he's from the US. Boring, boo. No one wants a US Pope. I think it would be really fun if we, everybody say grace, but you don't, Pope is an international thing. You want someone with a bit of verve. You don't want some boring American guy. You've also got Matteo Zuppi, 69, Italian, appointed a cardinal by Francis in 2019, a very progressive character. He has been controversial. He has very tolerant views on same-sex relationships. He is something of an ally to feminists. He's been an ally to the feminist Benedictine order. Like the sound of them. This would be, I think, a worthy successor to Francis, who kind of opened the door to much more liberal views within the church. And then you got everybody's favourite, at least everybody's favourite name, Pier Battista Pizzaballa, ballerina cappuccina, Pier Basta Pizzaballa, mi chiamo Benedict. He's from, and you're not going to believe this, Italy. Now, interesting about him, he's been the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem. Basically, he's been in the Holy Land a lot. And I don't know if you've been following the news, a lot of stuff going on in the Holy Land. In fact, on October 7th, he offered himself as a hostage in exchange for children who were being held by Hamas, which is some real Christianity in action. Who's your money on? I would bet that you've forgotten all those names I just said at you. And also, it's completely moot because, like I said, they probably will have chosen one by the time this comes out, but it was fun to go through that, and more importantly, it's fun to go ballerina cappuccina. But what do you make of all this? Are you a Catholic? Are you part of the Catholic Church? Let me know in your comments down below. Have you got Conclave fever? Did you enjoy the movie Conclave? Are you the actor Ralph Fiennes? Let me know down below, and we get to the secret question. Shh, people who've made it all the way to the end. We'll keep it Catholic related. What is your favorite psalm? Is it a psalm about peace? Is it a psalm about brotherhood? Give me the psalm and the psalm number, maybe even a line from the psalm. Hey, it wouldn't hurt to get a little godliness in our usually godless comment sections. So I can't wait to read the psalms. I'm Benedict Townsend. May tennis be with you and with your spirit. It used to be and also with you, and I'm sorry that ate. And with your spirit doesn't have the juice, but I'm not Pope. Well, we don't know yet. Maybe I am. Maybe I am.